Okay, let's add an animation to this project. So you want to go to the site view. And for animation, you normally want to create a simple pan, or maybe you want to move in, zoom in, or zoom out. But normally, a simple pan is all I do. For zoom in and out, I can do a render, one still render, and then zoom in using iMovie or Movie Maker, zooming it in and out. So I don't have to render that in Revit. But panning to the left or to the right or up, that's a nice technique. So how do you do that? So in the site view, make sure you're in the site view. You go to the 3D view, click the down arrow and select walkthrough. Okay, so select walkthrough. Okay, click on the first point. That's where your camera will be placed. Okay, and then click on a second point and maybe a third point. So you have 3 keyframes. 1, 2, 3. A simple pan. So camera moving along this side and then finish the walkthrough. The next thing you need to do is you need to point the camera towards the building. So you've created the points, location of the keyframes. Now you want to edit the walkthrough. So click edit. Okay. Remove all the windows that are open. So close hidden windows. And then just open for now your east elevation or west elevation. So open your west elevation and a 3D or walkthrough. So you now have a category here, a walkthrough view. So walkthrough. Currently you're not seeing anything because the camera is not pointing towards the building. And then type WT and ZA. Okay. So there's your camera. There's your site. You need your site, an elevation view, and the walkthrough view. Okay. So in the site view, again, let's edit the walkthrough. Let's go back to the first keyframe, the first point we have selected. So previous keyframe. Go back again. Okay. And then you have this nice pink dot. That's your target. So you can swing this toward the building. Okay. We're not yet seeing the building here because this here is your cropping plane. Crop plane. So you want this to be extended beyond the building. And if you have trees here or whatever objects or models you have, you want to extend this beyond that point. And then there you go. You see your building. Okay? If you want this cut to a certain point, you can also do that, right? Normally you don't want to do that. You want to extend this beyond the building. Okay? So that's your initial view. We're editing the camera. So currently we have the camera, active camera selected. Later on, we'll also change the path. So we can select path right there to edit the path. Okay. So that's the first. Let's go back here. Oops. Okay. Click on edit walkthrough. Go to the next keyframe. Not next frame, next keyframe. We currently have 300 frames. Okay, we want to go to the next keyframe. The other frames are calculated for you. So those are what we call in between. The only thing that you need to set are the setting of the camera on the keyframe, and all the in-between frames will be adjusted by Revit. Okay, so go to next keyframe. Again, move this here. You want your building to be at the third. Okay, you can also adjust this. So you can adjust your frame. Okay. And you want your building to be at the third of your frame. Okay. Maybe expand this a little bit. Okay, let's go back to our previous keyframe. So that's scene number 1, keyframe number 1, keyframe number 2, and then go back to the last keyframe. Adjust this so it points towards the building. I think we need more space here, so open it up. Okay, go back here. Okay, that's what we're seeing for the middle keyframe, starting point. Okay. Now, if you want to, that's the path right here. So in an elevation view, you can now also edit the path. So let's go back to, so edit path, go back to edit walkthrough, edit walkthrough, and from here we can edit this path. So you can bring it higher. So if you want to see it looking down, see the building down, then you can say next keyframe. That's what you're going to be seeing, right? So maybe do that. Now once you do that, you might also want to go back to active camera. Active camera, select the camera, go to the keyframe. Okay, go to the keyframe, and then at the keyframe, that's where you can move the target. So you can move it down, so it's pointing downward. Okay, so you do that in an elevation view. It's a little bit tricky because you need to move back and forth, changing the camera and or the path. So right now we're editing the camera again. So edit walkthrough, next keyframe, right? Is that what you want to see? So you're a little bit higher. So you can again go back and edit the path. Maybe bring it higher. And likewise, edit now the camera and point it downward. Okay. So if you want a bird's eye view. Okay. Once you're happy with what you get here, you might want to go back to edit walkthrough, go back to your first frame, and then in the 3D walkthrough view, make sure you're here, click on play. Otherwise, it will just show you the animation of the camera. So you want to be in the 3D view walkthrough, then play, or make sure you're in the beginning. So that's the start. You're in frame 1, right? And then click on play. you can change the frame rate. Right now it's at 15 frames per second. So you can say change that to maybe 30 frames per second, which is a normal setting. So you can click here and change this to 30 frames per second. If you want to, you can say uncheck uniform speed, so that you know how they do that, like the speed of from one frame to the next will be faster. So you can say maybe at the middle change this to 2 or 3. That becomes an accelerator multiplier, so you can do that. Okay, apply, click OK, and then go back to your first keyframe and test it out again. Once you're happy with your animation, then you can start rendering the animation. So how do you render the animation? Okay, once you're happy with that, with all the settings, you might need to lower the number of frames so that it goes faster, or you can change that in Premiere or iMovie or Movie Maker, so you can speed up the animation there. But another thing that you can do is maybe change the total frames, so you don't have that slow a speed. So the lower the number of frames, the faster it will go. Okay. Otherwise, if you're happy with that, you can then now go to File, Export, go down, and export this as an image and animation. You want to render the walkthrough. Okay. Frame range or all frames. Okay. Let's just render a hidden line rendering and click OK. Want to save this. Those are the options again. Save this. Full frame uncompressed. Click OK. And it will start rendering. Okay. So once it's done rendering, you will be able to view your render, so by double clicking on the walkthrough. So right now it's still rendering. Okay, so while it's rendering, we'll move to Lumion, so it can render. We'll just export our model into Lumion. So kindly do that, and then we'll move to Lumion.